everybody. Welcome on DKN The Guru Show. Today, as we longly expected, we're welcoming a great person within the Congolese community, the founder of Save the Congo. Yes, he's here with us today. He's going to explain and to introduce Save the Congo as itself. But at the moment, please have a look at the images.
Mbote Nabino, Lingala for hello. My name is Vava Tampa. I'm one of the directors of Save the Congo. As some of you might know, London is set to host the GS Summit in 2013. The last time London hosted the GS Summit was in 2005, when the world came together to make poverty history. Then, the world was beginning to come to terms with the politics and economies of the wars in Congo. And as some of you might know, 2013 also marks 20 years since the killings and the human tragedy in Congo began. It also marked 10 years since the 1998 invasions of Congo were said to have officially concluded. It also marked 10 years since the world came together to decide on the do's and the don'ts of the diamond trade, which gave birth to the Kimberley process.
Hello, Vava. It's my pleasure to have you on my show today, DKN The Guru Show.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, it's really my pleasure. It's our pleasure because the audience is going to introduce the show, to enjoy the show with us today. So can you please introduce yourself, tell us who you are exactly?
Right, so my name is Vava Tampa. I am Congolese. I often introduce myself as being mixed race because my father's Muyanzi and my mother's from Kisangani. I founded Save the Congo in 2008, and essentially we kind of focus on sort of campaigning, lobbying, raising awareness and so forth. And what we have decided to do essentially is to sort of have a focus outside the Congolese community, because I think there is no one in the Congolese diaspora who hasn't got a clue, doesn't know what's going on in Congo. So we try to kind of focus on other communities. So we try to focus on religious leaders, in the Anglican, Catholic Church and Jewish community. We try to focus on the students, we try to focus on parliamentarians, as well as NGOs and civil society in this side of the world. So that is, in brief, what we do.
So that is Vava Tampa. Excellent. So Vava, we know you as an activist. What experience exactly do you have as an activist, educational or non-educational? What experience do you have?
I became an activist by accident. It was not a plan. I wasn't sort of thinking of, I'm going to go and become an activist in 2008. I think 2007, in fact, I kind of began to understand what was going on in Congo. And I began unilaterally, personally, writing to different members of parliament and so forth. And in 2008, I decided, you know what, perhaps it would be a good idea to actually establish an agency which would essentially work on this issue, on the crisis engulfing the Congo. So that's how I became an activist. I think I always tell everyone within our team, within the Save the Congo team, that we are all amateurs. So we are learning every single day, we are making mistakes, we are stepping on people's toes, sometimes we say the wrong things, and then we learn quickly and we try to correct it and so forth. So it's a learning process, it's a learning procedure.
Is a learning procedure. You mentioned that it's in 2008 that you've become an activist.
Yeah.
Now, what happened in 2008 exactly that got you taking the pen and paper and decided to finally write? Because Congo has been having problems for a long while before 2008.
No, you're absolutely right. There was a report, one of the biggest reports, probably one of the only, my first report to have read on the Congo. It was written by the IRC, the International Rescue Committee. And that report essentially said that about 5.4 million people had been killed in Congo.
Okay.
Now, that was at the time equivalent to the population of Scotland. And I was at university and I asked myself, well, I'm Congolese, how can I not know what's going on in that country? I had an idea, because I think when you're Congolese, you live within politics. Politics is practiced whenever there is a matanga, whenever there is a fete and so forth, people talk about politics. So I had an idea that there was some sort of crisis going on at home, but simply had no idea in terms of the scale of the crisis. So when I learned about the killings in that time, and I began reading about the rape of women in 2008. That's when I kind of decided, you know what, something ought to be done, and then the writing campaign began, and 5 years on, we're still here.
So, is the explanation you've given right now, would you say that's exactly what has pushed you to create Save the Congo, or there is other factors?
So that report was one of the driving forces, but another factor was also the raping of women. It was an issue which really spoke to my heart. There was a time I stopped reading about the raping of women in Congo, because after you have read report or account of what women were going through, you would find it difficult to go to bed. It was simply, the stories would come back and they would haunt you. So those were the issues which really sort of essentially pushed me into kind of, something ought to be done. And I suppose I have remained an activist, sort of out of necessity. There isn't, I suppose, another way out. I ought to do it. Something ought to be done, and I have the time, some energy, I think, and so yes, we're trying to do the best we can.
Now, Vava, since Save the Congo has been created, how has Save the Congo contribute towards the community?
And our focus has always been sort of, two things really. Campaigning, which is raising awareness, and the other one is lobbying. We haven't worked sort of internally within the community. And the reason we haven't been working internally within the community is because there is no Congolese who needs to be told that there are crises happening in Congo. I think people know that the situation at home are awful, terrible. There is no word to describe them. I think there are perhaps rooms in which we can find ways to channel people's angers and frustrations into positive activities and actions. I think there is room, and we need to explore those rooms. But our work, my job has been sort of really looking outside the Congolese community. My task is I want to make these crises, what's going on in Congo, the last conflict with a capital C in that part of the world. I want the names of women who had been raped, the name of people who have been killed to actually be remembered. I want every bishops in the Anglican Church, every bishops in the Catholic Church, every rabbis to know that there is a crisis in Congo. The people are being killed, people are being raped because of natural resources. And I want the names of those individuals to be actually cited, cycled in different places. So we've been looking outside, so we've been targeting parliamentarians, we've been targeting student union, we've been targeting religious leaders, and we've been targeting also NGOs. So those have been the four main constituencies that we have been looking into. I think over the next couple of weeks or months, we will also be sort of targeting young Congolese, because I think there is a huge community, there is a large number of, I call them the sort of, the silent majority. There is a large number of young Congolese who are incredibly concerned and who are, raging and willing to do something, but they're probably just unsure what to do, who to talk to, and how do I proceed forward. So those are the people whom, over the next couple of weeks, we will definitely be looking to speak to.
We also know that you have 3 celebrities as goodwill ambassadors for Save the Congos. I'm going to name them. So you have Lisette Mibo, you have Eddie Kadi, and you have Kassanji Reva. So how is it important for you to have them as ambassadors of Save the Congo, and also what exactly do they do as ambassadors?
Interesting you mentioned, because actually when we began, Eddie Kadi was the first person I did give a call. Initially, we wanted him to be our patron. That was the original deal. I gave him a call and said, okay, Eddie, this is the plan, this is what I have in mind, and I want you to be the patron. But we sort of lost contact or dialogues for a few weeks and a few months. And then when he came back, we kind of asked him to become ambassadors. The idea is really simple. Clearly, surely, we need other community, the outside support, to help us as we kind of make our way outside through this crisis and conflict. But definitely this issue, the Congolese crisis, will be resolved by Congolese, young Congolese. And AD has been, a great, amazing supporter. Lisette, also wonderful, excellent. Kassanji, incredibly passionate. So we wanted to showcase those young Congolese who are passionate in their own very unique ways, who are using their skills and expertise and platform to raise awareness of what's going on in Congo in many ways, in different ways. So it was incredibly significant personally to me that we have those Congolese right at the forefront of the crisis, trying to shape the dialogue.
Okay, well, thank you, Vava. Also, we are aware that you went to Congo 2 years ago to count the votes regarding the election.
Yeah.
Now, my question to you, I would like to find out what exactly is the problem in terms of election in Congo? How come Kabila has been elected as a president, but according to what we're seeing in the media, people didn't seem to be happy, but again, this is supposed to be Republic Democratic of Congo, where the people actually are the one voting. So what happened there? What's the problem within the election in Congo?
Well, the first issue we need absolutely to be clear about is Kabila was not elected president. And that is a fact which everyone knows. The Congolese Catholic Church talked about it. The Carter Center spoke about it. The EU mission spoke about it. Our mission, we weren't part of the EU mission for civil society. We also spoke about it, we wrote about it. So Kabila was not elected as president. He simply kept power by force. Avant de libre, that was the issue. In terms of Congo as a country, I mean, we often, as you said, the Democratic Republic of Congo. Congo is a country without democracy and with a really dying republic. And the problem, one of the biggest problems we've had, and this goes back, if you go back in history, is that the Congolese people and the outside world has never voted in the same line. So if you go back in 1960, we voted for Lumumba, but major power voted for Mobutu. And Lumumba ended up being killed and Mobutu being put in power for the next 32 years. And